Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to dive into another harrowing true crime story. We'll explore the tragic case of Christy Shawn and Joseph Codd, a young couple whose lives were brutally cut short by someone they considered a friend. Have you ever pondered how well you truly know your friends, colleagues, or neighbors, and how much you can trust them? Often, we trust our friends implicitly, sharing our lives with them. But sometimes, those who pretend to be our friends might later exploit our vulnerabilities. For most people, friendship brings meaning to life, providing support and companionship. However, the intent to help can sometimes lead to tragedy. This story is about the tragic loss of Christy Shawn and her husband, Joseph Codd, which shocked the quiet town of Lear, North Carolina, in 2015. The most horrifying aspect was that their perpetrator was someone they trusted and considered a friend. Christy Maria Shawn Codd was born on September 3, 1976, in Madrid, Spain. She was the only child of American military personnel. Her father, a U.S. Air Force soldier, frequently moved with his wife and daughter due to his duties. The family lived in various European countries before returning to the United States. Christy began her schooling in New Orleans, Louisiana, but the family soon moved to Texas, then to Illinois, and later to Latin American countries. This nomadic lifestyle had its benefits. Christy spoke multiple languages and experienced diverse cultures. However, she faced challenges in making friends and settling into new groups. Despite these challenges, Christy developed excellent communication skills, easily finding common ground with various people. She was known as a sweet, sociable, and charming young woman. From an early age, she actively participated in sports, including gymnastics and swimming, and even took kickboxing classes. When Christy finished school, her father retired from the military, and the family settled in Beloit, Mississippi. There, she made real friends and discovered a new hobby: cooking. Christy enjoyed preparing various dishes and experimenting in the kitchen, earning praise for her culinary masterpieces. She completed culinary courses and initially seemed destined to become a professional chef. However, she also discovered a talent for acting. A beautiful and ambitious young woman, Christy enrolled in an acting academy and moved to Los Angeles. She seized every opportunity to make her mark, appearing in commercials, performing on the theater stage, and even participating in some high-profile Hollywood productions as an extra or stunt performer. Specifically, she had a minor role in the Terminator franchise, performing risky stunts. Despite her striking appearance and evident talent, she did not land any significant or notable roles by the time she graduated in 2000. Christy then decided to focus on her culinary skills and sports, turning these passions into a profitable business. Christy participated in several popular culinary TV shows, which made her well-known and turned her into a recognizable figure. She made it to the finals of one season of the next Food Network Star, but did not win due to mixed reviews of her culinary experiments. However, she attracted considerable attention and gained thousands of followers on social media. She actively promoted a healthy lifestyle, gave advice on proper nutrition, and developed exercise routines to maintain good physical condition. About a year later, Christy founded a successful catering company that provided banquet services and retailed prepared culinary products. Her business focused on healthy eating, featuring her original recipes. She contemplated starting her own farm to grow healthy, environmentally friendly produce, expanding her catering business. At the same time, she conducted online courses on proper nutrition and developed several other projects. In 2012, Christy met Joseph Timothy Codd, better known as JT, who worked as a casting director in television. They first met at a studio in Los Angeles during the casting for a culinary show Christy wanted to participate in. They instantly clicked. Joseph was nearly 7 years older than Christy, had been married before, but was in the process of divorcing. He was charmed by Christy's beauty and charisma, and they began a romantic relationship. Joseph shared and supported Christy's ideas, and together they worked on their dream project of owning a farm. They decided to leave Los Angeles and move to North Carolina, investing their savings in a large piece of land in the town of Leicester. They acquired a spacious house and a nearly 1-acre plot to realize their dream. Joseph continued to work remotely with TV channels, while Christy developed her personal blog about proper nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. Their relationship was marked by love and harmony, and soon they formalized their relationship with a lavish wedding in August 2014. Their happiness knew no bounds when they learned they were expecting their first child 3 months after the wedding. However, their joy was tragically short-lived. Christy was 5 months pregnant and actively preparing for the arrival of their baby. She kept in regular contact with her parents, who lived in another state, sharing updates on her well-being. However, on March 13, 2015, Christy's mother was unable to reach her daughter. Initially, she didn't think much of it, but the same thing happened the next day. Christy's calls went unanswered, and her son-in-law's phone was also unresponsive. By March 15th, both of their phones were turned off, and Christy's mother became alarmed. Unable to check on them personally due to the distance, she called a close friend of Christy named Cecily, who lived nearby. When Cecily arrived at the Codd residence, she noticed both of the couple's personal cars were parked outside, but the front door was locked, and there was no response to her knocks and shouts. The couple's beloved dogs were locked inside, which was highly unusual as they would never willingly leave them alone. Walking around the house, Cecily saw that the back door lock had been forcefully broken, indicating a break-in. She immediately informed Christy's mother, who promptly called the police. Responding officers confirmed that the back door had been broken into, and inside, they found signs of a struggle and disarray, suggesting someone had been searching for something. According to the family, some valuables were missing, including a jewelry box and a breached safe in the bedroom. However, there were no signs of blood or evidence that the couple had been forcibly taken. The perpetrator had acted cautiously, leaving no fingerprints or DNA traces. Despite the lack of physical evidence, the couple's disappearance was highly suspicious, and the relatives clung to the faint hope that they were still alive. In the initial days, the investigation stalled as no significant evidence or clues emerged. The missing couple had no known enemies or ill-wishers, making it challenging to reconstruct the events. The police decided to question the couple's neighbors, hoping to find any leads. A neighbor across the street mentioned seeing another local resident, Robert Jason Owens, throwing a large bundle into a trash bin near the Codd's home on the morning of March 15th. This detail seemed insignificant at first, but given the circumstances, it was worth investigating. Robert Jason Owens was a 36-year-old handyman who lived on the same street and was well acquainted with the couple. He had helped them when they first moved into their new home and was considered a close family friend. The couple had even invited him to their wedding. Despite his helpful nature, locals described Owens as a strange and unpredictable person. The police summoned Owens for questioning on March 16th. Initially, he denied any involvement in the couple's disappearance and claimed ignorance about the bundle he was seen disposing of. That evening, the situation changed dramatically when the strange bundle was found at the landfill. Inside were items from the missing couple's home, with Owens' clear fingerprints and DNA traces found on partially burnt clothing belonging to the couple, a blanket, and a throw from their home, all stained with blood. This evidence confirmed police suspicions that Christy and Joseph were no longer alive. The police searched Owens' home and found charred human skeletal remains in his wood stove. Owens was then brought in as a suspect in the brutal murder of his neighbors. Despite his initial denials, after several hours of questioning, Owens confessed. His admissions were truly shocking. He claimed that on the evening of March 12th, he visited the Codd's home and swerved off the road to avoid hitting a dog, getting his car stuck in the mud. He asked the couple for help, and while they were pushing the car, he accidentally confused the gas and brake pedals, running over them. Terrified, he decided not to call the police, believing he would be accused of killing them. Instead, Owens chose to cover up the incident. He broke into the Codd's house, took blankets from the bedroom to move the bodies, and wrapped them. Unsure if they were deceased, he placed them in the bed of his pickup truck and drove them to his home. There, he dismembered them in his bathroom using a saw and a small axe, then fired up his stove and began burning their bodies in increments. The blood-soaked clothing and blankets were packed into a trash bag and disposed of in a dumpster. Owens also staged a burglary, stealing money and valuables, which he pawned the next day. The brutality with which Owens disposed of the couple's bodies and the eerie calmness with which he recounted the events shocked even seasoned police officers. In his home, they found a saw and an axe stained with blood, skin, and bone fragments of the deceased. Owens hadn't even bothered to clean the tools, confident that the investigation would never lead to him. Forensic analysis confirmed that the bone fragments found in Owens' stove belonged to the missing couple. As the investigation continued, more shocking details emerged about Owens' past, hinting at a long history of violent tendencies. In the initial days after the Codd's disappearance, the investigation struggled to find significant evidence. However, the focus shifted dramatically when the police decided to re-question the neighbors and delve deeper into Robert Jason Owens' background. Owens had been a close family friend and a helpful neighbor, but his unpredictable nature and recent suspicious behavior caught the investigators' attention. Owens' past revealed another disturbing and unresolved case. In 2000, his close friend Zeb Wayne Quinn, who was only 18 at the time, had mysteriously disappeared. Quinn and Owens had known each other since school and were planning to drive to Leicester to buy a new car the night Quinn vanished. Quinn's Mazda Protégé was later found abandoned with its headlights on. Inside, a heart was drawn on the window with red lipstick. The car also had damage and scratches with paint traces from another vehicle. Owens' car, too, had damage and contained paint particles from Zeb's car. Despite these connections, Owens' story about that night was peculiar and implausible. Owens claimed that Quinn had received a message on his pager, prompting him to urgently use a payphone. After returning, Quinn seemed frantic and changed their plans, driving off in an unknown direction and hitting Owens' car in the process. It was discovered that Quinn had a romantic relationship with Misty Taylor, whose former boyfriend, Wesley Smith, had threatened Quinn to stop seeing her. Both Smith and Owens were questioned, but released due to lack of evidence. Owens' odd claim that he made a phone call to Quinn's workplace pretending to be him added more suspicion, but no new evidence surfaced, leaving the case cold. In June 2015, following Owens' arrest for the murder of the Codds, the police reopened Zeb Quinn's case. A thorough search of Owens' property uncovered a peculiar and chilling discovery. In a detached concrete slab, they found a walled-off cavity containing heavily charred human bone fragments. The remains were too damaged for DNA analysis, but suspicions arose that they could belong to the missing Quinn. An elderly neighbor recalled a sickly sweet smell from a fire Owens had started in 2000, shortly after Quinn's disappearance. This fire pit was later covered with concrete, supposedly to build a small fountain, which was never constructed. Ultimately, Owens confessed to being complicit in Quinn's murder, but his story took a shocking turn. According to Owens, Quinn was killed by his uncle, Walter Owens, who had been hired by Wesley Smith to eliminate Misty's new boyfriend. Robert claimed his uncle had ordered him to lure Quinn to a secluded spot. Once there, Walter shot Quinn and instructed Robert to help dismember and burn the body on his property. This confession was highly disturbing but impossible to fully verify as Walter had died several years before Robert's arrest. Initially, Robert Owens faced multiple charges including first-degree double murder, murder of an unborn child, dismemberment and concealment of evidence, burglary, and robbery. These charges could have led to the death penalty. However, Owens' lawyer argued that he had long suffered from depression and mental disorders, taking powerful medication that impaired his judgment. This defense strategy aimed to avoid the death penalty, possibly leading to Owens being found insane and sent to a psychiatric clinic instead of prison, which neither the prosecution nor the victims' families found satisfactory. As the investigation into Quinn's case progressed, Owens struck a plea deal in 2017, admitting guilt in the murder of the Codds in exchange for the removal of the death penalty from potential sentences. He was found guilty of second-degree manslaughter, dismemberment, incineration of bodies, burglary, and robbery, receiving a total sentence of 59 years in prison. In 2022, Owens made another plea deal regarding Quinn's case. He only admitted to complicity in murder and assisting in hiding the evidence, resulting in an additional 12 years added to his sentence. During his sentencing, Owens addressed the court, asking for forgiveness from the relatives of his victims. He again spoke of his innocence, attributing everything to unfortunate accidents and his mental disorders. However, the families of Christy, Joseph Codd, and Zeb Quinn did not believe him. They were convinced that Owens acted deliberately and for selfish motives. The brutal murders of Christy Shawn, Joseph Codd, and the unresolved disappearance of Zeb Quinn paint a grim picture of Robert Jason Owens' life. His actions shocked the quiet town of Lear, North Carolina, and left a lasting impact on the victims' families and the community. Despite his claims of innocence and mental illness, the evidence pointed to a calculated and ruthless individual capable of heinous acts. This case serves as a chilling reminder of the hidden dangers that can lurk behind the facade of friendship and trust. The story of Christy Shawn and Joseph Codd is a tragic testament to the dark side of human nature and the devastating consequences of misplaced trust. Robert Owens' case drew significant media attention due to the gruesome nature of his crimes and his unexpected confession involving the long-missing Zeb Quinn. As the legal proceedings progressed, the families of Christy Shawn, Joseph Codd, and Zeb Quinn anxiously awaited justice. Initially, Owens faced charges that could have led to the death penalty, but his defense team argued that he suffered from severe mental health issues, including depression and disorders that impaired his judgment. This defense strategy aimed to present Owens as mentally unfit to stand trial, potentially leading to a verdict of insanity and commitment to a psychiatric facility instead of prison. The defense presented evidence of Owens' long history of mental health issues, supported by testimonies from medical professionals and records of his powerful medication. This approach raised concerns among the prosecution and the victims' families, who feared that Owens might escape severe punishment. The prosecution, however, countered with the meticulous planning and execution of the crimes, arguing that Owens' actions were deliberate and calculated, driven by selfish motives rather than impaired judgment. As the trial proceeded, the courtroom saw intense drama, with emotional testimonies from the victims' families and forensic experts detailing the horrific nature of the crimes. The evidence against Owens was overwhelming, including the bone fragments found in his stove, the stolen valuables, and his confession to both the Codd's murders and his involvement in Zeb Quinn's disappearance. The prosecution painted Owens as a cold-blooded killer who exploited his victims' trust for personal gain. In 2017, Owens agreed to a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, admitting guilt in the murder of Christy and Joseph Codd. The plea bargain resulted in Owens being found guilty of second-degree manslaughter, dismemberment, incineration of bodies, burglary, and robbery. He was sentenced to 59 years in prison, a decision that brought some relief to the victims' families but also left lingering dissatisfaction as they believed the punishment did not fully match the gravity of his crimes. Families of the victims struggled to cope with their loss, finding some solace in the eventual imprisonment of Owens, but continuing to grapple with the trauma and unanswered questions. Christy's parents, who had anticipated the joy of welcoming their first grandchild, were left with an irreplaceable void. Joseph's family, who had embraced Christy as one of their own, mourned the loss of a beloved son and daughter-in-law. Zeb Quinn's family, after years of uncertainty, finally had some closure, although the full truth of what happened to Zeb remained elusive due to the murky details of Owens' confession. The case of Robert Jason Owens serves as a grim reminder of the hidden dangers that can exist within trusted relationships. It highlights the importance of vigilance and the unpredictable nature of human behavior. The tragic story of Christy Shawn, Joseph Codd, and Zeb Quinn underscores the devastating consequences of misplaced trust and the enduring pain of losing loved ones to violence. Thank you for joining me today. This case is a testament to the resilience of the victims' families and the relentless pursuit of justice. Please subscribe to my channel for more true crime stories and updates. There are many shocking stories ahead, and together, we can explore these complex and often heartbreaking cases.